Beautiful introduction for me. So I'm not going to go ahead and introduce myself again, but if there is anything you would want to know further than what David had said, then please feel free to ask. Okay. And SPSS, of course, it's a statistical software. And what we will be doing today is basically focus on how to use the software. So since all of you are master students, I do assume that you are familiar with a little bit of, statistics, the basic statistical procedures, what they stand for. So today we will only focus on how to use SPSS. Now, before we begin, let me ask you all, have you guys ever used SPSS? Are you familiar with at least a little bit of it? Yes, Norris Hader.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let me just quickly give you a brief on what exactly I'll be covering today. Are my slides visible to you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me just turn my video off. Otherwise, I'll be facing some problems with connectivity. I just opened the camera so that you guys have an idea of what's the face behind, like from where the voice you'll be hearing is coming. Just give me a moment. Okay, so today we will be focusing on these very topics. I'll give a little bit of an overview of the SPSS, then how you have to enter data. That is what I'm going to be doing. And then very basic analysis. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to focus on the statistics behind these techniques. What I'll be focusing on is basically how to use the software for some very basic kind of data analysis. And of course, lastly, data presentation, which I feel maybe, you guys will might want to use or could require in your dissertations and all. So data presentation. Now, let's go through this, what I have prepared for you all today. Additionally, if you have any questions, we can take that up later. Okay. And as I understand, not all of you have access to the software. Okay. So it is okay if you don't. I will be sharing my screen and you can see a look of what the software looks like through my screen. Those of you have the software, good enough. It's good for practice. Okay. So let's look into the basic overview of SPSS first. So SPSS, it has different windows or screens. Okay, and each of these windows will have.
Ma'am, your SPSS screen is not visible. It's the PPT going on.
Okay. The slides are not changing. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, ma'am. Your SPSS software is not visible.
Yeah, no. That will be visible shortly. Let me just give you a background first, and then we will go to the software. Okay. All right. So, so SPSS, it uses several windows, right? And these are the most common windows which we mostly use. But in addition to these, there could be some other windows, but I have not included them in this particular presentation because they are either used very rarely. And as researcher, these are the windows that we mostly focus on. Now, the data editor is the window where you enter the data, where you analyze the data. Okay. Output viewer, as the name suggests, it is the window which will show you the results of your analysis. Okay, we will cover each of them more in detail. And syntax is basically a programming programming process which is inbuilt in SPSS. Those of you who are familiar with computer programming might find syntax useful. But I personally, I do not use syntax. Okay, it is not required for my research and the range of analysis that I do. And also I'm not very familiar with your programming. Okay, now let's look into your data editor. Like I said, the data editor will be the window where you enter the data. okay, and where you analyze the data. So this is the first window that will open when you initiate SPSS, and this is the first window that you need to know about. This is where all of your work will be done, right? And it has two views. We will get into these views a little later. Now, this is how the data editor basically looks like. Okay, and it has got two tabs. Again, I'll open the software and I'll give you a hands-on experience of how to navigate all of these options. But just an introduction, I want you to just see what it is all about, right? So here you can see there's a data view and there's a variable view. So this is where you enter the data. Okay, you enter your variables. Again, I assume you all know what are the variables. My slides are not changing for everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
What can you see right now?
Introduction to SPSS.
Okay, just give me a moment. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is this was the slide which was visible to you, the introduction only, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you guys should have stopped me a little bit, before you did. Okay, anyways, so like I said, these are the topics that we will be covering, okay, from data entry to analysis to presentation. Please just, stop me in between. If you type in the chat when the slides are not moving, I cannot really see it. Okay, just stop me in between. Any one of you can just speak up. All right. Okay, so overview of SPSS. So in the overview, like I said, there are three windows. Okay, three common windows which we mostly use. Data editor is where you are going to enter the data, you are going to manipulate the data, you are going to analyze the data. Everything you do will be on the data editor window, right? And whatever you are doing on the data editor window, all of that will be visible in the output viewer. We will go through them one by one. Data editor, like I said, it has got two tabs, which is your data view and variable view, right? And it is the default window which opens SPSS. So the moment you open SPSS, this is what will be visible to you. Okay. Now let's look at, this is how the data editor looks like, right? You can see there are two tabs here, data view, variable view. These are the columns and rows where you can enter the data. These are the different drop-down menus where you can analyze, you can transform the data, you can draw graphs. Everything that you can do on SPSS is on this particular window, right? So just look at here, it is nicely written, IBM SPSS Statistics Data Editor. Okay, so whatever you do here, all of that gets recorded into the output editor. The slides are changing, I hope now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so output editor, it is nothing but it's like a log record. Okay, whatever you are doing with the software, what file you are opening, what file you are closing, what file you have saved, everything will be taken record of in the output editor. See, the idea is when we are analyzing data, what happens a lot of the time, you are running different kinds of analysis, you are trying to see different combinations of the variables, right? So when you save it all in the output editor or when it is present in the output editor, it becomes easier for you to navigate. Say, for example, you are doing an analysis and then you want to know the mean of something. But the mean you had calculated, say, an hour back. Okay, so you have been working on SPSS for an hour. So how do you go back and look at the mean? So instead of calculating the mean again, you simply go to your output editor because it will have saved that particular mean. Again, I'll give you a view of output editor properly in our SPSS. Okay. Now, the good thing about output editor is what? You can save it. You can save it as a separate file in your computer and it becomes very, very useful. when you usually when you are doing a big kind of a research, say a PhD work or something, there are numerous variables that you are working on. If you save this, you can go back to these analyses and look at it. Okay. And these can also be exported. So for example, say 3 of you are working in a group project and only 1 of you has an SPSS. Okay. So what you will do, whoever has the SPSS, you will conduct your analysis, you will have your findings in the output. Now, if you might save the output file, but you cannot share that with your friends who do not have SPSS. They cannot open the output file unless and until they have SPSS. In that case, what you will do, you will simply export the output file. Okay, you can save it as a PDF, as a PowerPoint file, and then you can send it over to your friend. Now, this is how your output editor looks like. Now, before going further, let me open SPSS for you. Okay. Now, this might just take a little bit of time. Just I have kept it open. Let me just share. Where is my SPSS? Yes. Okay, is it visible to you? Can you see the SPSS window?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so what this is your data editor. Okay, and you can see this is a blank document, right? There is no data currently here. We will be entering the data a little later, right? Now, this is your data view. Okay, and there is a second tab, like I said, in the data editor, which is known as variable view. You click here. Here, there will be these 1, 2, whatever number, these are basically numbers of your variable. So you might have different variable, you might have age, you might have gender, you might have ethnicity.
It's not WHO or not, no? Just
No,
Rajasthan.
I really want to understand why have they then sent it. They should have said like directly.
Welcome to life. Just listen. Listen.
Okay, there is a lot of conversation going on in the background. Can you all please mute yourselves? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so this is your variable view where you enter the variable, right? You can enter the types. Again, we will go on to the types. You can see there are different types of variable. All of this we will just come back a little later. Okay, anyways. So this is the variable view. This is your data view. Now we can look at the output view. We will look into the output view a little later. Let me again go back to the slides. Okay, so okay, can you see the slide output editor?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now, so these are the two output editor. We will just, get to it in the software when we are doing a basic analysis. All right. Next is your syntax editor. Can you see the slide changing? Can you see the slide changing to syntax editor?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, we can, let me. All right, now it should be visible. Okay, so like I had said, syntax is nothing but a programming language, which is very, very unique to SPSS. Those of you who are familiar with syntax or any kind of programming might find it easy, but I personally don't find it easy, and also I do not use it. Okay, why? Because syntax does nothing but all the analysis that you can already do in your data editor through the drop-down menus, all of that analysis, you can do it through your syntax, through a programming, right? But some people do claim that there are some benefits of syntax. It depends on what kind of analysis you have to do. However, for me, there is not a lot of difference. So I do not use syntax. Okay. So syntax is said to be, flexible and easier to edit and manipulate because you can simply type into the programming language, but I do not use it. However, I'm not going to go too much into syntax, but I'll just give you a look of the syntax editor here. So this is how the syntax editor looks like. Okay. When I go back to the software again, we will start by having a look at the syntax editor. You simply go to the file, open syntax, right? Now, this is all about the different windows of SPSS. There are three major windows: the data editor, the output editor, and the syntax editor. Okay. Next thing we will talk about is this is how the syntax editor basically looks like. So these are the programming, as you can see. Okay. So this is a name of a variable. You can see compute. Compute what? You have to compute this, right? Again, compute something else. Again, compute something else. So it becomes a little bit of complicated, which is why I do not use it basically. So this is the syntax editor. Now we will be focusing on data entry, which I think would be useful for you all. In data entry, like I said, we enter the data in the data editor window. Okay, so you enter the data starting with the variable tab, right? Let me just quickly show you. There are different variable types, values, and once you are done with entering the variable, then you will go to the data view to enter the cases. Now, let us do a little bit of data entry first. Okay. Are you guys familiar with what do I say? Any kind of, survey method and all, data collection through server method? Have you guys done anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So before we go on to your entering the data or how to enter the data, let me just give you a look of a survey so that you know from where we are picking data. Okay. So what I'll be doing is just a small survey I'll open for you all. And this is basically the survey. Okay, and as you can see, these are the demographics. So these are some of the demographic information, and this survey basically comprises of your 3 standardized psychological scales. Okay, don't worry, we are not going to enter all of the data. I just want to give you a basic idea. So in the demographics, we have name, we have gender and age, we have marital status, educational qualification, and the state of origin in the Northeast India. Basically, this study was basically on migration of people from Northeast India to the rest of the parts of the India. So here, 2 important questions was, where are you originally from in Northeast India, and which city outside of Northeast India do you currently live in or have you migrated to, right? So all of these are demographic information. Then there is this one scale. Okay. In this scale, you can see it's a Likert scale, and there are 10 questions, and for 10 questions, there are different options here. First, in SPSS, let's enter the demographic data. In the demographic data, we are going to enter your name is optional. You do not really enter the name. Say gender, age, marital status, educational qualifications, and so on. Okay. Again, let me open SPSS for you all. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is what your data editor, the first window, right? And here, like I said, you will start entering your data on the basis of your variables. So when it says name, it means the name of the variable. So first variable is our age, right? And what type of variable is age? It is a numeric variable. Okay, and this type is very, very important. All right, age is going to be a numeric variable. If you make it a comma variable, which means what? For example, sometimes to write a large number, say your 5,677, we use a comma in between, right? So if your data is in that format, then you use this variable. right? Now we are only going to stick with numeric. Then dot is for when you are, say, writing a date with dot in between. Then the variable could be in the form of scientific notation. It could be in the form of a date, or it could be string. Mostly in our qualitative research, we use numeric or string. Numeric means, as the name suggests, these are numbers. String are your qualitative variables. Okay, your categorical variables. Numeric is your continuous and quantitative variable. String are your discrete or qualitative variable. Okay, all right. So we have entered the first variable, which is age. Then we write numeric. Width is nothing but the width of the column in your data view. It will be a little bit more clear. We do not need any decimal in our age, so decimal is 0. Then there is what? Just give me a moment. Yeah, label. Here, we don't really have any label for this age, or maybe you can write age in years. This is just for your understanding. Okay, this is just for your understanding. Values will be none. Why it is none here? We will again, it will be clear in a little bit. Okay. What is missing? There is no missing data. We will treat here as no missing data. Column align. Measure is important. Measure will be scale. Are you familiar with the concept of scales of measurement or not? Nominal, ordinal, ratio, interval scales. Are you familiar with all of that? I hope you are, but even if you're not, I cannot really help you now. We cannot go back there, right? So scale is basically, you have to scale of measurement. Measurement, it basically indicates the scale of measurement per se, all right? So it can have ordinal or rank order scale. What is a rank order scale? Is like the army ranking, right? There are a rank, but the distance between two ranks may not be similar. Scale is when the distance between two units in the scale is similar. For example, your age. Difference between 3 to 4 year old will be same as the difference between 4 to 5 year old. But the difference between two, I do not know the levels of the ranks of the army officers, but between the two different ranks might not be same, right? And nominal is simply categorical. For example, your male and female, there is no scale to it. There is no rank to it. Okay. So age is what kind of a variable? It is a scale kind of a variable. And role here basically talks about whether it is an independent variable, dependent variable, etc., etc. But we always just let it stay default, which is your input. Okay. So now again, I'll repeat, we are in the data editor. We are in the variable view. We have entered our first variable. Variable 1 is what? Age. It is a numeric variable. Width is nothing but the how wide you want that particular column to be in your data view, right? So now we have entered one variable. Let's look into the data view. So one variable is what? Age. Okay, variable 1 is age. Now let's come back and enter our second variable. Let's enter gender here. Gender. Now what type of variable is gender? Can anybody tell me what type of variable is gender?
Ma'am, it's a categorical.
Categorical variable, right?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Because if you are female, then you can't be male. If you are male, you can't be a female.
True. However, say we want to conduct a study where we want to study the, we are conducting a research where we want to study whether men and female, whether men and women are the different in their level of intelligence. Okay, getting my point? We want to see whether men and women are the different in their level of intelligence. Okay, so here, say we want to conduct a t-test. Do you know what is a t-test? Anybody t-test? What is a t-test?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in t-test, what happens? You want to measure the, how do I say, you want to assess the difference between two different groups, right? Okay, Now we can either see, this is something which depends on your need for your research. You can either keep your gender as a string variable, which is a categorical or discrete variable, okay? Or if you have to do some kind of an analysis with gender, right? You want to see the difference between gender in, say, intelligence level, in your emotions or your personality, you can keep it as a numeric. How? Let me show you. Width is same, decimal we don't want. Label is simply you write male, female, say male, female. Label is just the name you use for your, for your convenience. Now, when we make it as a numeric variable, what we have to do, we have to do something in the values tab. What we will do here, value, say value will be 1, label will be male, then you add, okay? Value is 2, label is female, then you add, okay? Now you will see these are added here. So you can see in the age, there are no values, but for gender, there is a value. The purpose of it is, while you are entering the data, what you will simply do, you will indicate the men in your men participants as number 1, female participants as number 2. So you can use these numbers to conduct some kind of studies. Okay. So again, here the scale will be, since it is numeric, we will keep it scale. Okay. Or you can also keep it as nominal. That's fine, right? Next variable that we have, let's say enter the, okay, this is all demographics. Maybe we can enter your marital status. Say, for example, here we will write marital status. Then you can either keep it, see, in the name of the variable, you cannot give a space. The moment you put a space, it becomes illegal. Okay. If you make it numerical, again, you have to enter your values. Values is what? Say 1 is married, add, then 2 is what? Unmarried, add, okay? Done. Again, decimal, let's keep it 0. All right, so this is how you do the demographic information. This will also be your nominal. This is how you do the demographic information. Now, let me open the scale again for you all. Let me show you the scale. As in the survey, basically what it entails. So in my survey, demographic data is there, that is done. Next, we have how many scales? We have 1 scale, this is section A, then this is section B, and this is section C. So I have 3 different scales here. Okay. Now for each of these scales, what I will do, I will enter item wise, basically item 1, item 2. So the first scale is nothing but a cultural intelligence scale. Okay. In the cultural intelligence scale, there is 10 items. All right. So there are 10 items in the cultural intelligence scale. So let's again go back to your SPSS and how will we do that? Let me open the untitled, what we were working on. This is what we were working on, right? So now we will, how many variables are entered? 1, 2, 3, go back to the data view, age, gender, marital status. So variable 1 could be our cultural intelligence. So we will label it CQ. Cultural intelligence, it's a type of intelligence, right? So CQ, it's like a, how do I say, IQ, it's a type of IQ, we call it cultural quotient. So CQ item 1, it will be a numeric variable, no decimal. Label could be your cultural intelligence, ULT, URL, etc. Values would be none. Okay, there is no missing, you assume, and we will have a scale variable. Why? Because in this particular scale or in this particular item, people would answer between, say, strongly agree to strongly disagree, and each of these items or each of these options between strongly agree to disagree will have a numerical value. Okay. Next, let's go back to CQ. 2, same thing, numeric, and let's make it scale. Done. Okay. So this is how in the variable view you enter all of the variables. Again, let's go back to the data view. So first what you have to do is you have to name your variable. So for CQ, I'll have 10 items, right? Then we will move on to data view. Now your first participant, say the age is 21, gender is what? Female or men. So here you are not going to write male or female because gender is represented by a value. So if your participant is a man, say you will write 1, right? Automatically it will say, it will understand that it is a man. See, 1 gender, and marital status, say the person is unmarried. So 1 is for, maybe 1 is for unmarried. Now, in CQ1, this is the first item of the scale on cultural intelligence. So in the first item, what the person has obtained, you will write here. Say, for example, 4. Okay. Then the next item, 5. Getting my point? So this is your first participant. All of the variables will be here. And whatever the participant has obtained, each of them you will write down here. Is it clear? Say your next participant, 23-year-old, maybe female, maybe unmarried, maybe got a score of 4, and over here maybe 2. Okay, so in the variable view, you enter the variable, you define the variables in terms of all of their properties, and in the data view, you enter the data. Okay, now I have already, see, here is the output window. Remember we were talking about 3 different windows. This is your data editor. This is your output window. So in the output window, it says it keeps a log of everything. Okay. So what did we open? What did we close? New file has been opened. So it has mentioned here that you have opened a new file. Okay. And syntax is from here. You go to open syntax. Okay. So here you have to open a syntax file, or you can save it somewhere. I'm not going to go into syntax too much in detail. Okay, now, like I said, I had already created a file. Let's look into that. Let me just keep it for the time being. Okay, can you see? Can you see the information here? Is my screen visible?
Ma'am, your screen is
Yes,
visible,
sir.
the information is not.
Okay, let me stop and then change share. All right, so like I said, I have already entered the data for you all. Let me open that. Now is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, just give me a moment. So this is my data editor, right? This is my data editor, and this is the variable view. You can see whatever tab is in yellow color is the tab which is currently you are working on, right? So I have an ID here because in psychological research, we do not really take the names of the people, right? So I'll have a variable called ID. So these are all my variables: ID, age, gender, marital status. You can see for age, the values are none. This is the values for gender, right? These are the 2 values for gender. Then we have marital status, education. There are more than 2. Here there are 4 values for education, right? Undergraduate, graduate, etc. Then I think again, which northeastern state, you can see here, the information is given. All of our 8 states are there, right? And then which city did you migrate to? So you can see name and label. Remember, label is just for your personal benefit. So here, if you see, these are the labels. So this is the variable name. See what happens in the data view. If you write the entire name of the variable, it becomes very difficult to look at a lot of information, right? So the moment you put here cultural intelligence 1, this is the label, it is visible to you. Okay. Or let's see any state. which state in Northeast India do you belong to? So this is the label. This is just for your convenience. Okay, let's go to the variable view. This is your, this is my first scale. You can see cultural intelligence 1 to 10. This was the first scale. There are 10 items to it. Okay. Then this is scale number 2, SOCA1. This is a scale of sociocultural adaptation. Okay. So sociocultural adaptation, these are the items. Okay. There are again 11 items for sociocultural adaptation. And there are 5 items for psychological adaptation. Now, this is the variable view. Okay, so for each of these items, I have entered the data. Let's go back into the data view. So my first participant is 25-year-old, gender is 2. 2 is what? I think 2 was for female or male. Let's see. Yeah, 2 is female. Okay, so my first participant is a 25-year-old female who is unmarried. 1 is for unmarried. Education is probably, I don't know, number 3 is what? Let's see. Number 3 education is your master's. So her education qualification is master's, right? And then which state in any, again, it is numerically represented, migrated to where? Okay. So my first participant is in the cultural intelligence scale. In the first scale, she scored 6. In the first item, she scored 6. In the second item, she scored 2. So on and so forth. So each of the items, how much she had scored, I have included here. Okay. Now let's move on to the socio-cultural scale. So this is her scores for the socio-cultural scale. This is my participant 1, right? These are her scores for the socio-cultural scale. Then these are her scores for the psychological scales. We will go back to the total a little later. So this is my participant 1, then participant 2, participant
Ma'am, you are not audible.
Ma'am, you are not audible.
we will be talking about a little bit of analysis. Okay, very basic, not nothing that you cannot get a grasp on. So let me again go back to SPSS software. If it opens, that is. Okay, so we looked at how to enter the data, which is quite important for what kind of analysis you will do. Because say you have labeled the variables wrong, it's going to affect your analysis. So you cannot run all the type of analysis with your numeric data or with your qualitative data. So depending on the data type, the analysis that it will take on will be influenced. All right. So this is the variable view, data view. These are your participants, right? Now in the data view, you can see there, these are the individual scores of this participant on the different items of a particular scale. But I need the total that she had scored in this particular item, the item on in this particular scale, which is your cultural intelligence. So how do I do that? We will go to transform. We will go to compute variable. It basically is it's like a calculator, right? So here we have to add up all of the scores, all of the items on the cultural intelligence. So 1 to 10. Let's take a smaller scale, which is your psychological adaptation. This is another scale, psychological adaptation. It only has your 5 items. So what we will do? Item 1 plus item 2 plus item 3 and so on and so forth, right? And say, for example, we will, what do you want the target variable to be called as? Since it is the total of the scale, we will say total psychological adaptation, right? And once that is done, you have added, so you can see there are different options here. All of this you can use like a calculator. You press OK. Okay, what is illegal character? Okay, there is a space here. See, since there is a space here, it is not taking it. So we remove the space and do OK. Again, there is an illegal character. What? Let's just short it for total psychological adaptation, right? Then you do OK. So this is your output file, right? Let's go back to the variable file, your data editor. This is your data editor. We just calculated a new variable. So we will go to the variable view and you will see this was the variable that we had calculated, total psychological adaptation, right? It is a numeric variable and all of the rest of the details are given. Change the measure to scale. So this is our new variable that we had calculated. Now let's go back to our data view. I had already calculated this particular, the total scores for you, and any new variable that you calculate will come towards the end. So we have here for each of our participants, the total IQ, the total CQ score, the total socio-cultural adaptation, total psychological adaptation, as well as an addition of the sociological and psychological adaptation, right? So this is your total adaptation. These are the new variables that you have calculated. So it has come towards the end of the data view, right? Now, if we look at some very basic analysis, transformation is simply you're calculating the total of the variable, or if you want to, subtract some variable from, if we have, say, for example, total adaptation, but you only want the value for total psychological adaptation. So you will simply, minus this variable you will subtract it from this variable. Getting my point? So transform gives you simply a way of transforming the variables, right? You can order the variable. There's a lot of options. We are not going to go into detail with each of them. Now let's look into a little bit of analysis. In the analysis part, let's go to the variable view again. Do analyze, say most of us, we need what? We need descriptive statistics. We need, say, frequencies we need. Okay. Frequency of, say we usually generate frequency of a categorical variable. So say, for example, we will do frequency of gender. Then we can just select on this gender and you have to click on this button so that it comes to the variables here. Then we can do frequency of marital status, how many married, how many unmarried, right? And if you go back to the statistics here, say you want mean, you want to know the mean and you want to know the standard deviation. Do continue. So these variables, it will calculate the frequency for these two variables. Click OK. This is again the output variable. Output view, it shows the results of your analysis, right? So frequency table, how many men? 102. Out of 245, 102 are men, right? These are all your different options that has been given. We had calculated the mean and standard deviation. So this is the mean, this is the standard deviation, right? Now, say for example, you want the mean and standard deviation for a continuous variable. Go to descriptive statistics. Do not go to frequencies. Now simply go to descriptives. We want to have the total cultural intelligence mean, total social cultural intelligence mean. So you have to click this one by one, or sometimes you can also select them together. Okay. Go to options. You want the mean, you want the minimum, maximum, and standard deviation. If you want the range, you keep on the range, right? Do continue. Do OK. Again, this is the output viewer. In the output, you have n is the total number of cases. Then what is the minimum? Then what is the maximum of your total CQ? What is the mean? So mean for each of these variables are here, right? And as I had mentioned, the output editor, it keeps a log of everything that you have done. You calculated frequencies. There's a title note active. There's a frequency table available to you. There's a descriptive table. Now these tables you can also copy. You can copy and paste it somewhere else, or you can save this whole output file. How will you save it? Go to file, then you click save. And you can save it accordingly, right? Okay, now, since we don't have a lot of time, let me just quickly go to the more advanced analysis. You can do any kind of analysis here. You can do your one sample t-test, paired sample, all of these, right? Let me just run a independent sample t-test here. So you want to see whether there is a gender difference in cultural intelligence. So gender will go to the grouping variable. Okay, then you will define groups. Group one will be your one was men, right? Two was female. Continue. Then test variable will be your total, say, cultural intelligence. So you want to see gender difference in cultural intelligence. Click OK. Here also you can click on options, and there are some other options that you can initiate or just leave out. Click OK, and you will get a t-test result. See, here is the t-test. This is a significance, and this significance, it is this finding is significant. So in the cultural intelligence, there is a significant difference between the men and female. Okay. So far clear, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let's quickly look at your how to do graphs. So in the analysis, whatever analysis you need, maybe you need correlation. So go to bivariate or whatever correlation you need. You can correlate between total cultural intelligence and total adaptation. Okay, click OK. And you see here are your correlations result. So this is a significant, you can see 2 stars here. So there is a significant correlation between what? Total cultural intelligence and total adaptation. I hope all of you know what all of this basically mean. We cannot go there now. Let's go into graph.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, actually, we couldn't see the output view.
Can you not see the output view now?
No, ma'am.
What are
We
you?
are
What can you see now?
We are still at the variable view.
Okay, let me show you the output view then. See, these are the problem with Zoom. Just give me a moment.
Yes.
Output view, yeah, here is your output view. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
See, so this is your output view, and whatever we have done so far, we calculated frequencies. In the left, you can see it's like an index. We calculated frequency, there's a frequency table, right? Then let's click into we want to go to descriptives, click on descriptives, it will bring you to the descriptives. Then we conducted a t-test. So here is a t-test. Correlation, here is the correlation that we had just conducted. Again, if you want to go to frequencies, go to frequencies. This is the frequencies window, right? So this is your output. You can save. You go to file, you can export it to a range of different options. You can export it to all of these options. Okay. All right. So the last thing we will do today is we will look at your how to do your graphs, right? Again, let's go to our data file. Data file is visible, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
So here is the graphs window. Let me just do one thing. Just give me a moment. Let me just straight away share the screen with you all. It becomes easier. Okay, the variable view is visible to you all, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
So we go to graphs, we go to chart builder. For categorical data, for qualitative data, it is easier if you have a pie chart. Okay, so you can see there are different types of charts here available, gallery, all of these charts. If you click on the bar, different types of bar chart will become available. Let us make a pie chart first. So you click here and you drag it here. Okay, it's taking some time, just give it a moment. All right. So how will you make the pie chart? Say, for example, state-wise, you want to know which state the subject is for. The subjects are from different states in Northeast, right? So you click on this, you simply drag it and click it here, right? Now, the statistics can either be the number or count, or you can have a percentage, right? Or you can have value or some whatever. Let's keep on percentage. Then we click on apply. Then we click on OK. Now, is the output view visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Give it some time. Where is the... Okay, there is a missing value. So there is a missing value there, which is why it is not building. Let us build quickly another chart. Semirital status. We click on... Oh yeah, it's here now. So this is the pie chart that we had created. So which state in North India do you belong to? These are the different options and this is the pie chart, right? Now, again, if you have to say create a bar diagram. Let's go to bar. We need a simple bar diagram and maybe we need what? We need, select this and drag it here. Simple bar diagram is here. Then maybe we need to see total CQ will be here. And then maybe gender here. Okay, so we need to see the difference between the mean or the difference between the total cultural intelligence between men and female. The statistics can be mean, median, group, or say sum. Let's keep it mean. Mean is easier. Then click apply, click OK, and you will have the bar diagram. Can you see the output window?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So all of the analysis you will be doing is in this, okay? But all of the output you can view in your output window. Okay, we don't really have a lot of time now, but we are almost covered. See, based on the bar diagram or based on the chart, you can create different let me just quickly show you one thing. Data presentation, yes. Is the slide visible to you now?
Yes, ma'am.
So for discrete or qualitative variable, a pie chart is a good way to go, right? In our example, we use it to represent gender and the state of origin. When there is a discrete variable, which is a continuous variable, and which is a categorical variable like gender, and a continuous variable like total cultural intelligence, what we did, we use the bar chart. So depending on your purpose, you might use different types of charts, right? Okay, now, do you have any questions? We have, I think, 10 minutes for question and answer sessions. Any questions?
Ma'am, like, is there a possibility to get the percentage exactly while we are taking a pie chart?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we did take the percentage here in the output window in the pie chart. See, no, here we did not do it, but it's very easy. You go to graphs, you go to chart builder. Where is our pie chart? There's an option, okay, that says you can take a, let's keep it gender. Here you go to percentage, then you do apply, then you do okay, right? The percentage will be, okay, it's not being showing, just give it a moment. Let's try something else. Okay, I do not know why the percentage is not, oh, okay, because it's a categorical variable. Let's look into your something else. Say, for example, which state in Northeast. Here, probably the percentage will show, let's see. Let's see if it shows now. See, it again depends on the variable. Like I said, all of the variables, again, it is not showing here. So for this, you have to calculate some other kind of a bar, some other kind of a graph, or you can calculate the frequencies and percentages differently and then use that data to create a graph. So all of that possibilities are here. Okay. So this is something you can use, like what we did was the most easiest way, but you can go to legacy dialogues and create pie. There you can create, some summaries of group cases, summaries of separate variables. You can define all of this you can use. Here the percentage of cases can be determined. Say now let's see if it shows educational qualification. Let's see if it shows the percentages now or not. Again, it is not showing. It depends on the variable. Just try it. Okay. These are all your categorical variable, which is why it becomes difficult for the pie chart to show. Okay. Any other questions? I'll be sharing this. These are the resources that I had used to prepare. Okay. So this particular, website, it is very, very useful. Just see through this. This is a book. It's a huge book, and just go through this website. It is going to help you all. And if you want, I can share these slides with David. He can share it with the rest of you.
Ma'am, like, is it necessary to do a reliability check, reliability and validity check on standardized tools?
Absolutely necessary. Why? Because the the tools are mostly that we use in psychology. We use the Western scales, right? These scales are developed in a different culture. Maybe if you are using a very old scale, is it still relevant in today's date and time? That also you have to see. So reliability, validity is very important.
So, ma'am, like, how do we check? Is it possible in SPSS?
Yeah, it is absolutely possible. You go to analyze, and then there is, say, where is the reliability? See, that is why I had asked you all to let me know if there is any specific, how do I say? the specific kind of an issue that you want me to take on. I do not remember exactly, but reliability testing is here. Okay, it is somewhere here.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so unfortunately we lost some time, and there is a different meeting that needs to use this particular link that we are using. See, here it is, scale reliability analysis.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you do that, and reliability and validity is very, very important. Again, reliability analysis, you have to write the items of the scale. Each of these items will go. So for each scale, the items will go separately. Okay,
Okay,
this
ma'am.
is the CQ scale. It goes here. How do you want to measure? Do you want to measure through alpha? Do you want to do split half? Do you want to do parallel strict? Right? Then what kind of statistics do you want? Okay, all of this is necessary. Okay, anyways, unfortunately, I cannot really take a lot of other questions for you all. But what we can do is, if you want, please, write to me. So for your question, see, this is Cronbach's alpha that we have just calculated. 0.7 is the reliability, right? So it is acceptable. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So we'll have to end the talk now. And David, let me know if any students want to, if you want to contact me for any any questions, anything, you can write to me or you can WhatsApp me. David has my number, and if you guys want, I'll share the slides with David. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. I hope the session has been a little bit useful to you all. Okay, guys, take care, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.